Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here with me today as we dive into a deeply transformative topic, ending soul contracts through the power of forgiveness. And I know y'all hate that word. Oh, I know. But this is a concept that many of us on a spiritual journey will eventually encounter. What's particularly significant about this process is how forgiveness plays a key role in releasing and healing us from these soul contracts. And I know this subject can feel a bit mysterious and even overwhelming at times, but by the end of this video, you will have a better understanding of what soul contracts are, why they exist, and how forgiveness is the key to releasing these contracts so both you and the other person can move forward in your spiritual journey. So forgiveness is probably not what you think it is. So please hang in with me. Don't be turned off by what we call the other F word. I know, but just hang with me and you will get it by the end and you will be ready by the end. This is a powerful topic. So let's take a deep breath and settle in with me. We're going to explore what soul contracts are, why they're so pivotal in our spiritual development, and how forgiveness can set you both free, and other people as well who are maybe energetically tied, because they may not be serving your highest good anymore. I encourage you to grab a cup of tea, perhaps light a candle, settle into a comfortable space, and let's journey together as we unravel what it truly means to end a soul contract. And I have a little bonus for you at the end, so you will want to stick with me. Before we dive in, my name is Avril, and I am delighted to guide you on this journey today. If we're old friends, thank you for joining me again. If we're new friends, welcome to my world. I am so excited to get to know you. So let's start by breaking down the idea of a soul contract. The term might sound a bit, out there and woo-woo, but it is something that resonates deeply with our souls when we understand it. In spiritual terms, a soul contract is an agreement made between two souls before incarnating into this life. It's not a legal contract like we're used to here on earth, but rather it's a spiritual agreement. Your soul, along with the soul of another person, agrees to come together in this lifetime to learn certain lessons, to experience growth, evolve, and even to help heal karmic energies from past lives. These lessons often align with the karmic paths you've been working through in various lifetimes. These contracts can show up in all kinds of relationships. They can be between parents and children, friends, lovers, spouses, coworkers, or even people who seem to make your life difficult. Yes, even that person who pushes all of your buttons might have a contract with you at the soul level. Why? Because growth often happens in challenging circumstances. The souls involved choose these experiences as opportunities for growth and transformation. And now I know this might sound a bit abstract, so let me explain with an example. Think of someone in your life who has had a profound impact on you. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. They could be a parent, a sibling, a partner, or even a friend. Your connection with them feels intense, right? Sometimes this intensity comes with a lot of joy, but sometimes it also comes with pain and challenges and unresolved emotions. These connections feel so significant because on a soul level, you chose this person to play a certain role in your life's growth. Imagine someone in your life who may have hurt you deeply. You might wonder, why would I ever agree to that pain? But when viewed from a soul level, this person may have agreed to play the role of a catalyst in your life, pushing you to grow, to find your strengths, or to discover a deeper truth about yourself. That's not to say their behavior is justified, but rather the experience holds a lesson for your soul. Take a moment to reflect on a relationship in your life that might feel like this. It could be one of deep love or one of massive tension, where you feel pushed to your limits. This is likely a soul contract at work. Soul contracts often play out through the most intense relationships in our lives, especially those that challenge us. Why? Why do we have to go through this? Because the purpose of a soul contract is not always comfort. It's about growth. And sometimes growth requires discomfort, whether we like it or not. Imagine someone you know who may have pushed you into situations where you felt out of control, uncomfortable, or even betrayed. Maybe this person has triggered you in ways no one else has. Perhaps they've exposed part of you that needed healing or forced you to take control of your life. Are you recognizing this anywhere? Now, I know this might sound unpleasant, but those challenges serve as catalysts for our personal evolution. And when we view them through a spiritual lens, we begin to see the lessons hidden within the hardships. Does this mean you're supposed to suffer? Absolutely not. The idea is to embrace the growth that comes from these contracts while knowing when it's time to release them. Just like contracts in the physical world, soul contracts are not meant to last forever. These agreements have a natural beginning, middle, and an end. And just because a contract has ended doesn't mean the relationship itself needs to end, although sometimes it does. More importantly, the energetic dynamic shifts once the lessons are learned, and sometimes the lessons are learned quickly. Other times, it can feel like it takes an entire lifetime to fulfill the purpose of a soul contract. But the important thing to remember is this: when the lessons have been integrated, the contract can end. Just like when a marriage ends, it can be seen as a good thing because usually it means you've both learned everything you need to from each other and it's time to move on. You might be in a relationship with someone where it feels like you're both stuck in a repetitive cycle. You argue about the same things, experience the same pain, and can't seem to move forward. This could be a sign that your soul contract is actually nearing completion, but the energetic connection might still be holding you back. When this happens, there's often resistance to letting go, even though the contract has served its purpose. But here's the catch. As humans, we often hold these contracts longer than necessary. This can happen because of attachment, fear of the unknown, unresolved pain, or simply because we don't know how to let go. We might replay the same arguments or traumas in our minds, keeping that contract energetically alive long after its purpose has been fulfilled. The fear of letting go often comes into play at the end of these relationships. One reason we hold on to soul contracts beyond their expiration is fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of loss, or fear of what might happen if we move on from a person or situation. This fear can keep us trapped in a cycle of repeating old patterns, often leading to stagnation in our personal and spiritual growth. These challenges here are recognizing when a contract has served its purpose and trusting that releasing it opens the door to a new aligned experience. So here's a reflective question for you. Is there a relationship in your life where you feel stuck or unable to move forward? Take a moment to sit with that and consider whether you might be holding on to an expired soul contract. Pause the video if you need to. None of this means the relationship itself must end. Sometimes it does. But as I said before, sometimes it just simply shifts into a new dynamic. You might find that a relationship that once felt difficult becomes more harmonious once you end the contract, or a person who once triggered you no longer has that effect. What happens when we forgive and end a soul contract? Often there's a profound shift in energy. You might find that the heaviness around that relationship dissolves, or that certain triggers no longer have the same emotional charge. The person may physically move out of your life, or the dynamic between you may completely change. Regardless of how it manifests, there's a feeling of freedom. So you're no longer bound to that past pain or the karmic lesson. Let's say you've been holding on to a grudge with a family member for years. Every time you see them, there's tension, awkwardness, or unresolved emotion. But after doing the inner work and releasing the contract through forgiveness, you might find that when you see the person the next time, there's no longer that same emotional pull. Perhaps the relationship even improves as a result. But either way, you'll notice that the weight of the past is gone. When we end soul contracts through forgiveness, we step into a new chapter of our spiritual journey, one that's filled with greater peace and love and understanding. And fun fact, the other person doesn't even need to know. So how do we know when a soul contract has truly ended? Often we feel a deep sense of peace. The emotional charge around that person or relationship will diminish. You might find that thinking about that person no longer triggers the same strong emotions it once did. Or perhaps you'll notice that the relationship has naturally shifted or just faded away. Sometimes the person may leave your life altogether. Ending a soul contract doesn't mean that the person disappears forever, though. It just means that the lessons have been learned and the energetic bond that was once keeping the contract alive has now been dissolved. So I want to give you some concrete steps to help you release a soul contract through forgiveness. It's one thing to talk about it conceptually, but how do we actually do it? Here's a few practices that can guide you through the process. Identify the contract. Take some time to reflect on the relationships in your life that feel heavy, stagnant, or repetitive. Is there someone whose presence or memory brings up unresolved emotions? This is likely where a soul contract exists that's ready to be released. Next, you want to acknowledge the lessons. Before releasing the contract, it's important to acknowledge what you've learned from the relationship. What has this person taught you? Even if the lessons were painful. Did they teach you about boundaries, self-worth, patience, or compassion perhaps? Honor these lessons as part of your spiritual growth. And then we want to feel the emotions fully. Forgiveness is not about skipping over your emotions. We do not stuff them down. We want to feel them in order to heal them. Allow yourself to feel whatever comes up. It might be anger, sadness, betrayal, and do this without judgment. Sit with these emotions and let them flow through you. Give yourself permission to feel it all deeply. This is such a crucial part of your healing process. And then finally, we set an intention to forgive. Even if you don't fully feel ready to forgive, you can set the intention to do that. Say to yourself, I'm ready to begin the process of release. It may take time, but the intention will help shift the energy. All right, we're going to talk about the F word, okay? So let's talk about forgiveness. It's a deep spiritual practice, and it is the key to releasing soul contracts when the time has come. But let's clarify one important thing. Forgiveness is not about excusing someone's harmful behavior. We accept that they did it, but we don't have to stay energetically connected to it. Forgiveness is the most powerful tool we have when it comes to ending a soul contract. And here's something really important to remember. I'm going to say it over and over and over. This is not about condoning someone's bad behavior. It doesn't mean you're saying everything is fine or what you did was okay. And it's not about letting someone off the hook for their actions. Like, never, ever, ever let someone tell you that forgiveness is saying everything is okay, because it's not when we actually have to forgive. We know that, or else we wouldn't need to forgive. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself. When we hold on to anger, resentment, guilt, or pain, we keep ourselves chained to that contract. Energetically, we're keeping it alive. We're replaying the lessons, the hurt, and the emotions over and over and over again on a loop. And if you find yourself doing this, you have some forgiveness work to do. So let me give you a visual. Imagine you're carrying around a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a piece of unresolved emotion: anger, sadness, pain, betrayal. This backpack weighs you down and slows your process. Forgiveness is the process of taking those stones out one by one and putting them down. When you forgive, you release the emotional weight that ties you to the past. You become lighter, freer, and more aligned with your higher self. Forgiveness is the key to ending soul contracts. Forgiveness is about energetic release. When we forgive, we cut the cords that bind us to old wounds, resentments, and hurt. It's an act of freeing yourself from the weight of the past. This release is what allows us to end soul contracts with love and grace. And let me tell you, this is about self-care. And I know taking baths and eating chocolate and drinking wine is also self-care, but this is one of the deepest moments of self-care that you have in your toolbox to lead yourself forward. An example of a broken contract. Imagine someone hurt you in the past, a betrayal perhaps. The pain is still fresh, and the memories continue to play in your mind. Holding on to that pain keeps you tethered to the soul contract. The wound festers, and in turn, so does the connection. But when you choose to forgive, not to condone their actions, but to release the emotional hold they have on you, you begin to free yourself from the energetic ties of that contract. You may be thinking, but why would I forgive someone who has hurt me so deeply? And I get it. It's not easy. Forgiveness is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, and sometimes it requires deep introspection and healing before we're ready. But when you do choose forgiveness, it's not about the other person. It's about you, and it's about choosing peace for yourself. And when you're ready to end the pain of your life, forgiveness is the next step. And we won't change anything until it becomes too painful to keep going. But we don't have to hit rock bottom. Let me share a simple mantra I love for this process. I forgive you, and I release you. I forgive myself, and I release myself. Our contract is complete, and you can fill that in with the other person's name if that feels good for you. And let's not forget the importance of forgiving yourself. One crucial piece of this process that we often overlook is self-forgiveness. We can be incredibly hard on ourselves, especially when we feel like we've made mistakes, stayed in painful situations too long, or contributed to our own suffering in some way. But part of ending a soul contract is forgiving yourself for any role that you may have played. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is the one staring back at us in the mirror. Maybe we feel guilty for holding on to a toxic situation for too long. Listen, we're all guilty of that. Or for playing a role in our own suffering. Self-forgiveness is just as essential as forgiving others. It's a way to acknowledge your humanity, to let go of shame, and to allow yourself to move forward in life. And this is so important because we see a lot of people's guilt and shame on full display anytime they're being triggered by something that maybe the people around them have no idea about. It's important to remember that at the time, you were doing the best you could with the information and tools you had at the time. Self-forgiveness is the ultimate act of self-love and self-compassion. It's about releasing the guilt, shame, or regret that might be holding you back in every area of your life. And you do deserve to move forward free of those heavy emotions. Take a moment to reflect. Is there someone in your life you're ready to forgive? And are you ready to forgive yourself? So let's talk about how we actually practice forgiveness. Because it's easy to just say, forgive and move on. But in reality, it can be a much deeper, more involved process. Because don't worry, I have recorded a guided meditation for you to enjoy to help you with this process. I've linked it in the description and I will add it to my end screen so you can quickly and easily get to it and experience it right away. Here's a few important steps to guide you through the forgiveness process. Recognize the lesson you learned. Start by acknowledging that this soul contract existed for a reason. What were the lessons? What did you learn about yourself through this experience? Sometimes it's only through reflection that we can see how much we've grown as a result of these relationships. Take your time with this. You can journal, meditate, or simply sit with your thoughts. Identify how this contract has helped shape who you are today. Allow yourself to feel the emotions. Forgiveness doesn't mean bypassing your feelings. It's okay to feel anger or sadness or frustration. And in fact, it's necessary to feel these emotions so that they can be fully processed and released. Sometimes we suppress our feelings, thinking that forgiveness means we have to be above it all. But in truth, we have to go through the emotional process to genuinely forgive. Honor where you're at emotionally and allow yourself to feel those feelings without judgment. And if anybody tells you to be the bigger person, you don't need to be that anymore, ever again. This is your permission slip. You'll also want to shift your perspective. This is where the spiritual aspect of forgiveness comes in. Try to see the other person from a higher perspective. You don't have to agree with their actions, but recognize that they too are on their own soul journey. They may have been playing a role that was necessary for both of your growth, even if it was painful. This doesn't excuse the behavior, but it can help shift the energy from one of blame to one of understanding. And of course, we want to set the intention to forgive. Forgiveness is often a conscious choice. You can't force it, but you can set the intention to forgive. It's like planting a seed in your heart. You may not feel fully ready to forgive right away, and that's okay, because let's face it, we're often addicted to the story, and that's why we tell it over and over and over. It's serving us in some way, but not actually the best way. But by setting this intention, you allow the process to begin. And over time, as you heal, the forgiveness will naturally flow. Now, as promised, I'd like to walk you through a guided meditation to help you release a soul contract. You can do this anytime you feel ready, and it's gentle but powerful, and it helps you let go of the energetic ties that no longer serve you. Create a sacred space for yourself where you won't be disturbed. You might want to light a candle, burn some incense, or play some soft music, maybe cozy up in a blanket, and you want to just set the mood for your time in meditation. I've linked the release meditation in the description, and I will pop it on the end screen as well. I thank you for joining me here today to explore soul contracts. I would really love to hear what you think in the comments. Have you ended a soul contract? How did that feel? Do you realize you have a soul contract coming to an end right now? Will you take control and nurture the natural end of this relationship? Let me know, and don't forget to subscribe and tap the like buttons. I will pop the link to my full cord cutting ritual in the description. Every time I do this ritual, I get huge results, and my clients tell me they do too. So you will want to check it out. It's a method only a few people I know talk about, and it's so accelerating their journey to peace. Even I shock myself at how powerful it is. Not only am I a spiritual coach, I'm also a professional tarot reader, meditation guide, healer, past life coach, and tapping enthusiast. I help you achieve your extraordinary life through all of these modalities and more. I specialize in helping you move towards your dream life without the fluff and BS you find in so many other places. Whether you're looking for clarity in your relationships, guidance in your career, or a deeper understanding of your life's purpose, I'm here to provide the insights and supports you need. My readings and sessions are designed to empower you, help you overcome obstacles, and unlock your full potential. Every video on my channel is crafted with the intention of inspiring you towards the life you desire. We explore tarot readings for current events, dive into meditations that soothe the soul, and offer practical tips for spiritual growth and healing. Don't forget to check out the description below for all of my links and my emails so that you can easily reach out to book sessions with me. I'm here to support you every step of the way. Let's embark on this transformative journey together. Subscribe, tap the thumbs up, leave a comment, and let's make magic happen. I thank you for listening. Have a magical day.